it's Nikki here, the Wedding Insider, and I'm super excited because today I've come to see Lyndsey. Now Lyndsey's a really, really good friend of mine, and she's also a wedding photographer, and she's brilliant. So, hi Lyndsey!
Hi Nikki!
Give them a wave! Hi everyone! Okay, so I've come to have a chat with Lyndsey today all about wedding photography, because I'm not an expert at wedding photography and Lyndsey is, so we'll talk to her about it. So to start with, Lyndsey, how long have you been photographing for?
It feels like forever. I think I very first started with my grandparents' Polaroid camera because I used to absolutely love the fact that, you know, it was an immediate and used to hold it and wait for the picture to appear. I then started doing some photography at university and did my first wedding 12 years ago now.
Wow, 12 years.
But now it's a full-time job and it's what I do all year round.
Brilliant. Well, that's cool. So you do obviously mainly weddings. I have done a photo shoot with Lyndsey, so if anyone wants to see pictures of me and my other half on our photo shoot with Lyndsey, I will put a link at the bottom and you can all check those out as well. But you can see behind us we've got some photos of some of the weddings that Lyndsey has done before. I absolutely love Lyndsey's way of photographing because she just like fairly natural. You can kind of see, I don't know, just like nice pictures. And I love wedding pictures. I love wedding stuff. We all know that. And I use love too much. We know that as well.
Yeah, I get to go to people's parties every weekend. It's brilliant.
Awesome. So, Lyndsey, when you are, say I'm a bride to be and I'm looking for a wedding photographer. So, how would I know who to choose or where to go or what to do first? So, you know, where would I look?
I think there are some really good ways of just literally asking friends. Recommendations are often a really key way of getting to find people that you really like. You can see their work through other people's and just, you know, maybe I said literally ask your friends and see who they used and how they felt. I'd also suggest going to some wedding fairs, to be honest, because that way you get to meet photographers and other suppliers face to face and you get to chat to them in quite a relaxed environment and just really get to know them a little bit rather than just seeing photos. If you simply look online, you may see some amazing photos, but you might not actually get on with the photographer that's taken them.
And do you think it's really important to actually get on with the photographer?
Definitely. Personally, when I do a wedding, I'm usually around for around 12 hours on that day. So if somebody doesn't feel comfortable with me and they want them to get out of my, you know, literally take the cameras away and get out of their face, that's not what I want. I want people to really relax, really enjoy, and hopefully treat me like maybe a guest, maybe another friend, even another bridesmaid occasionally, given the things I have to kind of hands-on duties. So I like the fact that, you know, people do relax in front of me and just treat me like anybody else.
Which is brilliant, and that's the relationship I suppose you want with all of your suppliers, but particularly your photographer. If you're around for 12 hours, and I know that photographers normally join in at a wedding when you're first getting ready, so you would arrive when?
Usually around 3 hours before the ceremony. So I start with all the prep work, so I get to see the dress, I get to see the shoes, the flowers, the jewellery.
Pre-glimpses.
Yeah, literally get the sneaky previews.
Nice.
And then also most people these days are quite happy to have some hair and makeup shots so that you can see the transformation. And yeah, so it's quite, you know, but I have been known to help lace up dresses and, you know, literally get girls into those because some people just forget how to do it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, their nails are too perfect and can't be, you know, can't ruin them. So yeah, no, so it's very much a hands-on. If anything needs doing, help out. I have even sewn a bridesmaid into her dress when she broke the zip once.
Oh no!
Yeah.
So yeah, you're really then an integral part of every wedding, which I think is brilliant. I mean, you want someone who's going to be a part of that and to get all the little bits. So the other question I have, like literally when you're trying to choose your photographer then, is what kind of things should you be asking potential photographers? What kind of things should you be talking to them about before you actually choose who you're going to use?
Okay. From a very practical perspective, I do say set a budget, but be realistic about it.
Yeah.
I get a lot of people coming up to me expecting that they can have everything for £500, which to be honest isn't going to happen. So I think, yeah, set a realistic budget and do have a look round at everybody's prices and see what, you know, people are doing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, do check out a full day's work.
Yeah.
You know, don't just look at the best photos from one wedding because that may only be 2 or 3. You need to see a full day to actually make sure that, you know, that person can capture everything from all the little details through to some family group formals, and then, unlike me, well, I like to stay till the evening, so I get the party as well.
Nice, that's pretty cool. And I know when I've seen you at wedding fairs and stuff, and I have a look at a lot of your work, you do see a really nice variety of stuff in your albums. So yeah, I would say definitely when I've seen you at wedding fairs, I love flicking through, and you bring full bridal albums, so you can see from past events that she's done, you can see their full wedding album, which I think is absolutely brilliant. So in terms of those albums and stuff, you would set all of those out for couples at the end with all the pictures?
Yeah, no, so I supply an edited version of all the photos to couples so that they get all the good ones, you know, from the day, which do run into hundreds of photos. And then for my couples, they usually choose their best selection and their favourites. And then I do the layouts for either a photo book or an actual album for them.
Nice.
But choosing them can take a little while, so there's no time limit though.
What I'm going to show you is Lyndsey actually, not all photographers do this, but this is something Lyndsey does, and there are quite a few wedding photographers out there who probably do the same thing. But this is what Lyndsey would produce at the end of a wedding. I'm going to come up closer so you guys can see this. Now this is a proof book, and when you flick through, it actually has not all of the photos from the day, because obviously she has to go through and select some good photos, but you can see, I'll just pick a random page here. So what she's done is she's edited the photos, and she puts them all into a lovely album like this one here. Now the couples, am I right in saying people actually get to keep these books? Which is pretty amazing. So the first thing that you get is this album, and then you can go through and choose out of that your favourite pictures from the day, is that right?
Yeah, no, normally for most photo books or albums you can fit anywhere between 65 and 100 photos in.
Lovely.
So you choose those ones and let me know the choices and I'll do the graphical layouts.
But this one's got, how many photos did you tell me earlier?
That wedding's got over 1,000 finished photos in it.
That's pretty cool, isn't it, guys?
And the only ones that don't make the final cut are generally ones that are some of the family groups where Uncle so-and-so has pulled a stupid face or shut their eyes. But as long as it's a good quality photo, says something about the day, then they belong to the couple, so they can have them.
So, do you just give them the book, or do you give them a USB stick or a CD as well?
My packages include a USB stick of every photo that's in that proof book.
Fantastic.
And they're printable. They can scale up to huge 6-foot canvases if people wish, or at the same time you can take it down to a local print lab and get 6x4s out of the little machine. Do whatever you want with them.
Oh, how lovely. So going back to when you're choosing your photographer and stuff, obviously we've said that it's really important to get on well with the photographers. In terms of styles though, so if I came up to you and I said, you know, I want these particular photos at my wedding, is that something that you are happy that happens? I mean, people look on Pinterest, on Instagram, there's all these different social media sites now. How does that affect your photography?
It's absolutely fine. I will actually encourage some of my brides to say, if you are putting stuff on Pinterest, then show me, or send me a montage, or send me links to photos that you've seen. Even scrapbook it. Literally, if you've seen anything in a magazine that you like, rip it out, put it together and show me. I can then use that as inspiration to actually tailor your photos to your day. But at the same time, just bear in mind that I said not every photo, a lot of it is staged. So especially when you see some of the ones on Pinterest, it will have taken an hour to set up, it will have been lighting, everything else involved. It doesn't always happen like that on a wedding day, so you can never expect to get every single one that you've seen. But I do like to kind of actually use that. A lot of people these days come up to me and say they want quirky, and I have to try and understand what that means. Because quirky can be anything from doing this to putting T-Rexes in as people are running and screaming.
Nice. That's a big variety of different things you have to do there.
Bit of Photoshop occasionally. Yeah. It's all good.
So it's a really important job that you guys have. I mean, it's down to you guys to really capture people's big days. Do you find that a lot of pressure?
I think I used to, very much so. I still get particularly... I'm not apprehensive, but I really want a day to go well. So occasionally I will have trouble sleeping the night before because I'm so excited about it as well. So I do find it difficult sometimes to actually stay totally professional because I am so into it and I want their day to be perfect. So the pressure really, as long as my kit is ready to go and it's kept up to date and everything is there, all my batteries are charged and my cards are ready to go. The rest of it, as long as I've done some prep work, so I know who people are, I know what the timings are due to be, occasionally, they don't always go to plan, so you stay flexible. But most of it, I said, if I know people's names, I know what the timings are supposed to be. Things like the weather you can't control, so you've just got to go with it.
Yeah.
And these days, I said, it's more about making sure that every wedding is totally unique and enjoying it, because that will come across in the photos.
Yeah, definitely. So going back to the weather, obviously that is a massive thing for you.
This is the UK. It is, here we are. I mean, it rains.
Right now, I'm just going to tell you guys, so when we sat down to do this video, it was absolutely pouring outside, and you might have even been able to hear it. It was pouring, and I've just looked out now and it's sunshine. Yep. So in the short time we've been filming already, we have had a complete change of weather. So how does that affect your photos?
You have to take your moments. This year in particular has been very hit and miss when it comes to the weather. So we went from pretty much every wedding I shot in June had some rain at some point, to then suddenly going to 35 degrees in July, yes, which means everybody's too hot to actually be out in the sun. So to be honest, you have to stay flexible. Just because the timings, are running like that, I have had to kind of say to people, do you mind coming outside in between mains and desserts occasionally to make the most of the weather when it happens? I come rather a lot of brollies in my car. I hope I never have to use them that often, but if I do, then you go with it.
Yep.
I have had girls put wellies on, go out with a brolly and just literally embrace it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, if you have a winter wedding, there's a chance you're going to get snow, in which case definitely get out there and get some photos of it. It's brilliant. Yeah, you've got to kind of use it. But to be honest, I said most of the time I'm photographing, I will have looked at the weather report, but I just try and tell my brides, please don't check the long range. It changes on a daily basis, an hourly basis, and we'll just make the most of it, whatever happens.
Fantastic. So you're always prepared for anything?
Oh yes. The kit bag is not just cameras. It comes with, I could give you the full list: plasters, paracetamols, various sewing thread, scissors, Tic Tacs, very useful. Generally, and also wedding prop signs, thank you signs, just married signs. Yeah. Occasionally some sparklers as well for some evening fun photos. And yeah, just a real range of things that over the years I've found really useful. A nice nude lipstick, a bit of powder just in case to try and sort of sort out any shine. Everything. Anything that I found I needed at least 2 times in a wedding has now gone in the kit bag.
Fantastic. Well, I think that's absolutely brilliant, and I would think that most wedding photographers, obviously we're talking about you and your experiences, but I'm guessing that most wedding photographers out there probably carry a nice range of stuff with them, because they are a massive part of every wedding. So everyone, we're going to have a quick look at some of the things that Lyndsey has produced in the past. Now these are the albums that I love. I'm picking this one up first because this is one of my favourites of hers. Now it comes in this gorgeous box, which it's not wood, but it's made to look like wood. I'm going to get up again so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So it's all printed up nicely, and inside is the wedding album. And when you flick through, now these pages have got, and I can't remember what it's called. What's it called?
It's a satin metallic paper. So lots of albums and photo books these days. Obviously photo books you print directly onto the page. And the best things to look for with these are that they lay completely flat, so that if you do want to go across the whole 2 pages, you can do without a gap in the middle. But this one, I said, has got a different sort of paper stock. You can get ones that are super glossy, ones that are super glossy, ones that are matte, different styles, different things. But this one's got a little bit of a shimmer to it.
So I'm guessing all of the wedding photographers would be able to advise with which ones are best to choose. I think this one's gorgeous. But I guess it depends on your photos and on your style. Sometimes with a wedding album or a photo book, you've got to think about where you're going to put it.
The worst thing I can think of is that it just literally gets put away under a bed or in the loft and never comes out.
Do you know what? That's what worries me actually, because I look at these lovely albums and I think, now where would I put this album? I guess coffee table album's always a good choice.
Yes. I have had a couple who literally had a coffee table with a glass top and a shelf underneath, and their album was literally under it on that shelf but protected over the top. And every week, they changed the page to a different one so that they used it.
That is cute. Nice. Well, I'm just going to show you a couple of others. So this one is more of a traditional book style.
It's one of my standard photo books. So
standard. Yeah. So I'll just give you another close up of this one. So this one's just got a standard spine, no boxes or anything, and as you flick through, I mean this is gorgeous as well. As you flick through, again 2-page spread there.
They're still really thick pages, and to be honest, I have been known to baby wipe over these. So if you did spill something on it, it's not a complete disaster. They are pretty robust.
Nice. And this one is what you called more of a traditional.
Yeah.
Album.
Traditional albums haven't changed in actually many years, so a lot of people will say, oh, it's like what my parents or my grandparents had. However, these days we don't go for the tissue paper in between the pages or the gilt corners or the nice oval edges. These ones you can have lots of different cutouts, lots of different shapes, but these are actual prints underlaid under a mount, so they are actual prints. Yeah.
This is quite good actually. I like this one where you've got like the little triangle on one side and then like a nice bit of a gap, because it kind of gives it a bit of a funky layout even in a traditional wedding album.
Yeah, so I like the fact that it said with this company that do these, if I drew a squiggle, they would cut me a squiggle.
Oh, nice.
So I can do whatever I want with them.
So that's almost why it would be better then to get you guys, or wedding photographers in general, to get them printed up rather than maybe doing it yourself, because you can...
One, I think because often people never get round to it.
Yeah.
It is something that takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But also, I said my background is the graphic design, so I can literally lay out albums and books in any way, shape or form, with colours, with text. So if somebody wants their wedding vows printed in it, I can sort that.
Oh, that's nice.
If there's logos or themes running throughout the wedding,
Yeah.
even if you've got an illustration that's on your invitations or your stationery, I can use that and actually include it as well.
Oh, that's nice. That's a good idea. I'd never thought about that.
Yeah, I definitely think theme it up so that
Theme it up.
matches.
Theme up, guys.
Yeah.
I've got two more just to show you. So this one quick here is really heavy.
They are very
This
chunky.
one has got like a really thick, it's not glass,
It's acrylic.
acrylic
It looks
cover.
like glass, yeah.
Which is, it does actually give it a really nice kind of look to it there. It's a bit heavy, so I'm going to try and open this and actually not drop it. Oh, look, we've got your face in the middle of the book. So this is actually a really hard one to hold. I'm going to try it this way. Oh, there we go. I can do this
They
way.
are quite heavy. This one has got the highest gloss you can possibly
she
imagine.
looks
It's
cute.
really, really shiny pages.
It is really shiny actually. It does look pretty amazing. You can see the shine from the door there on that. But look at these pictures. I like this album. Nice wedding, guys. Now these are really cute little books. And Lyndsey was telling me that these quite often are ordered for like mum and dad or Christmas presents and stuff like that. So I'm going to get in close with this one. So it's like a little book again. It's all bound nicely, and then inside are all the photos laid out.
What I recommend is that most people sort their main book first, so that you've definitely got it, and then at the time of ordering, if you want to order little versions, you can do. I said they do make good Christmas gifts, and you'd be amazed how many mums actually will have one in their handbags, and they're at the hairdressers or the doctors or the dentist, and they just happen to have the wedding photos with them to show people, so they're actually really popular.
That's quite a good size for that. That's like, I know it's hard to see size, but that's quite a dinky one. But it is just, I mean, I was looking through this a minute ago, and it is stunning. You can imagine if your mum or dad or anyone else, grandparents or anybody, kind of want a version of your photos, that would be a really lovely way of doing it. So, I mean, I think that's brilliant, and all photographers will offer these kind of services to you, which I think is amazing as well. So you guys are not only there before the wedding, you're there during the wedding, and then you spend the next week,
Generally, yeah, no, so I have a lot of comments of people asking me, so do you have another job during the week? Is this a little Saturday job for you? The answer is no. One wedding is at least a week's work. So that includes all the prep meetings, because often you'll go and see bride and grooms maybe once or twice. You sometimes do a venue recce as well, so that you know all the best shots and where to take them on the day. I always like to know where the toilets are, because I will direct people accordingly. But generally, so you've got all of that prep work. You've then got the photography on the day, and it takes me, and I can't say it's the same for everybody, but at least usually 3 days in front of the computer, solidly going through all those thousands of photos that I've taken on the one day.
That's
and then
amazing.
Putting albums together, an updating website, and you know, Facebook and everything as well. So it's at least a week's work.
So how many photos do you think on average you take at a wedding?
I get asked this a lot.
I bet you do.
And I really, on the day, I don't like to think about it, because I'd rather just take the photos
Yeah.
and then sort them out afterwards,
Definitely.
because I'd hate to miss something.
Yeah.
I average at least 1,500 photos
Wow.
in a day.
Okay.
And then obviously have to go through each of those to see whether or not
Wow.
they're
Yeah.
worth keeping.
Whether they make the cut.
Whether or not they make the cut.
Nice.
Yeah.
So 1,500 photos. You look at every single one of those photos,
Yeah.
and then the ones that you don't, obviously you take out. So how many do you end up editing normally? Do you have?
At the moment, I'm averaging around 700 or 800 photos at every wedding.
Okay.
Usually because, I said, at the moment with summer, they're long days, there's
Yep.
lots of people involved, lots of stuff going on.
Yeah.
That's not the same if you have a 8 people wedding and it's
Oh.
only 4 hours, for example. So it does vary. I said, as far as I'm concerned, they're your photos.
Yeah.
So I'd rather you had them than me decide whether or not they're any good.
Yeah, which I think is amazing. I'm sorry guys, we ran out of battery on that last one, so we can't halfway through. Anyway,
Retake.
What is it that you actually need your photographer to have for your wedding? So whether, there's anything that actually, whether it's qualifications or anything like that. So Lyndsey, is there anything that you actually need as a wedding photographer, and would these guys need to check with their wedding photographers whether they have anything in particular?
I would say don't worry too much about qualifications. I think a large portfolio of work and also recommendations is far more important.
Yeah.
However, we are all, professionals should be insured, so public liability, so that if anything does happen, even as simple as somebody trips over our tripod, that we are actually covered for.
Yeah.
So it's very practical, it's very thing, but yes, we should, every professional photographer should have insurance.
And is there a level that you would need?
Usually it's a minimum of a spend, and there are certain venues actually that ask to see my public liability insurance certificate before they actually allow me to photograph there.
Oh,
So I
okay.
do actually have to provide it in advance.
Fair
So,
enough.
yeah.
And in terms of then, so say you're going to certain venues, does it matter what kind of venues you are photographing at? Would that be a consideration that people would need to take in when they are choosing their venues? Does it make any difference along those lines?
There are a few venues, there are a few churches, to be honest, that are still a little bit careful about what they will and won't allow in terms of photography and video.
Right. Yeah.
So it is worth checking with a lot of venues, especially churches, as to what they do and don't allow, because it's awful if you really have this ideal, vision of how you want your wedding to be captured, and then the photographer's not allowed to do any of it.
Yeah.
So I would check with that. Venue-wise, most things it's kind of anything goes.
Yeah.
However, confetti occasionally is still something that people don't allow, so that is something to also check out.
Yeah.
But yeah, unless you've got a venue that is listed or is an English heritage or a national trust, in which case they might have stipulations about certain rooms and things like no flash.
Yeah.
But other than that, most venues these days are just use it, enjoy
Yeah,
it, make
yeah.
the most of it.
Just to finish our little video off, I want to know what the top questions are that you get, and I want to know everything. So tell me, what's the most common things that you get asked by brides and grooms?
Okay, I've been asked some very strange things before, like whether or not I've ever been hit on at a wedding. It's happened.
And the answer to that?
I'm very professional.
Good.
But yes, it has happened. Yeah, the most common question I get asked is literally the kind of phrase, so you can Photoshop that, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's just like Photoshop is seen as the absolute be all and end all, that it will solve every problem and everything going. It's not really the case.
Yep.
Yes, it can enhance. So you can make a blue sky a little bit blue. You can make the grass a little bit greener.
But you couldn't make me blonde.
I could, but in 800 photos, that would take a lot of time and effort. Yes, if you woke up with the worst spot in the middle of the face, makeup will do an amazing job, but
Yeah.
I will obviously make sure that it wouldn't be seen in the photos. I would never airbrush out a tattoo unless somebody specifically asked me to do it.
Yeah.
Or any birthmarks as well. I think, that's part of who you are.
Yeah.
But if somebody's got a particular scar or something that
Yeah.
they're very conscious of, then obviously I can airbrush those photos.
And I guess as well, if you're aware of that before the big day, you can try and take photos to minimise how much those
Yeah.
blemishes or anything are seen.
I've got some brides that hate their smiles, so they don't go for the whole grinny face. I've got some that hate their profiles, So you sort of minimise how much you're actually doing that. So if somebody wants to absolutely tell me their do's and don'ts, that's absolutely fine.
Is that quite useful to you to get a bit of a list? Not necessarily do's and don'ts, but like if I came to you and I said to you, I'm really conscious that when I laugh I get double chin or anything like that, is that quite good for you to work with?
Yes, but at the same time, if you're so conscious of it,
Yeah.
it doesn't actually, you've got to just be enjoying your day. The
Yeah.
more you enjoy the day, the photos will totally represent that.
Yeah.
And so what if there's the occasional little double
Well, yeah,
chin?
the occasional one's alright, isn't it? It's just
not
like,
that big a deal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you are sort of doing a little bit more of a posy photo, then obviously, yes, there are ways that you can get around that.
Fantastic.
The one thing that most girls have an issue with is the arms. So
Yeah.
they're very conscious of the old flattening them, bingo wings, whatever you want to say. Bouquets are a great way of kind of doing that, but
yes, because you're holding like this, aren't you? So slender arms holding a bouquet.
And I never ever try and photograph a bride literally straight on, okay? It's going to make you look wider.
Yeah.
So even a little tilt or a little turn will make a massive difference to your photos.
And that's it. You kind of want to enjoy your big day being yourself and just being confident in who you are. So as much as I can appreciate that, like me, you might not want your double chin showing, I know that if I see a photo of me laughing my head off, then it's just going to be, there, isn't it? So
It should be the real thing. It should be capturing the moment as it happens, rather than literally having to pose it and think about what you're doing with every element and every muscle in your face.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much. It's been a real insight into wedding photography, and I think that's absolutely fascinating. I hope you've all enjoyed it as well. Lyndsey is a brilliant wedding photographer, so do look her up. Have a look on her website because she's got loads and loads of photos on there. I'm going to put a link in the comment section below, so do have a look on there. If you want any information from her as well, I'm sure she'd be more than happy to answer any questions and stuff that you guys have. Do send them all to me, I'll forward them on, and if we've got anything else we will ask her afterwards. So
always talk weddings, it's fine, but being this side of the camera is weird for me.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have because it's been a really good laugh. But yeah, so guys, if you did enjoy the video, please do give it a big thumbs up for us. I'd really appreciate that. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, there'll be lots more videos to come. I'm going to be talking to lots more suppliers and stuff like that. And there'll be some how-tos coming soon too. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you soon. Bye!